Hey, what is up everyone? I'm Mario here, and I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here. We are back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ever since that, we have recently finished up with our Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 Let's Play for our channel recently, since on Wednesday, we figured we might as well able to do one last playthrough for the sake of this week. And that is actually a short game, actually, because just like in the forms of in Toy Story, that recently that Blue the car did recently finish up that Let's Play. So because of that, folks, today we'll present to you our Let's Play of Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. First came out in 1989, which I kind of believe has been almost 31 years old for the sake of time for this year. And of course, as you can see on screen, we're going to be playing this on the emulator, so that way we can able to actually see the captured screen. Even though originally we were going to be able to do this on the Game Boy player, but unfortunately though, that we still haven't get a chance to get around on it. So as a result, I think the emulator will be good for ourselves, despite there are some frame rate issues, as you can tell, because much like in our Let's Play of Sonic Pocket Adventure for Neo Geo Pocket Color, that basically sometimes the frame rate doesn't match up completely to the likes of the original counterparts, but I digress. So, as far as you guys should already know about Super Mario Land at this point, it plays out pretty similar to the original Super Mario Bros., except the fact that it does manage to take place in a different environment. And also because this is on the original Game Boy, this also means is the fact that this game is going to be significantly shorter in comparison to the ones in the original Super Mario Bros. Back on the NES. This is pretty obvious because of the forms of that handheld's limitations or something like that, which, for the record though, is the fact that this is a very unique Mario game, all things considered, despite with the forms of the short length, because as far as I say, short length, this is by far one of the shortest 2D Mario games we've ever going to be conceived of, because I think there are a grand total of 4 worlds in the game, and each world does manage to contain 3 stages. So as a result, that's as you can tell, that's the first world in this game, which appears to be by the forms of, I would classify for saying, it is the Birabuto Kingdom, which again I do apologize for that pronunciation's name for the sake of time, but either way though, we'll able to actually mention about more details about these enemy types, which yes, those enemies are not originated from the Mushroom Kingdom because they're originally from their different locations. Like for instance, although before we get onto that, Mario, here we have ourselves the familiar power-up, even though it might not be the fireball, mind you, because if you remember from the likes of, that was before when Super Mario Maker 2 was a thing, although we still managed to get ourselves the familiar mushroom, which allows you to able to grow in size, and then if you get hit, then you go all the way back to a small form of yourself. But here's the thing about this game that is fully introduced into ourselves, that what appears to be body forms of, well, the Super Ball. And basically, all it does is the fact that it plays out pretty much like the Fireball, except the fact that it just bounces all over the place. So yeah, as a result, pretty interesting power-up, and I'm very glad that particular, the power-up will make its return during the forms of, specifically in Super Mario Maker 2, as I said before. So, yeah, as you can tell, that's, oh, by the way, to get 1-ups in this game, you still need to able to collect 100 coins until you get yourselves the extra 1-up, but there's also these hearts, which actually represents the extra 1-ups in this game, which, it might be a little bit similar to those heart containers from the Legend of Zelda games, basically, except the fact that, well, this is a Mario platformer after all. And by the way, as you can tell, since that we reached on top of that particular goal, ending sequence right there, you have 2 different goals. One, you can either go up to the top to able to activate the bonus game, as you can clearly see on screen, and also the one on the bottom, which will allow you to take you to the next level instantly. So, yeah, that's as far as we can able to think about this for the sake of this game. And of course, I will show you guys some of these secrets that you can able to find. Even though, unfortunately, we're not exactly sure if we can able to find the majority of the secrets in this game, just because it has been a very, very long time since we actually played this game. I think, kind of thinking about it though, Mario, is the fact that the first time we've ever experienced this game was actually in 2011. That we did manage to get ourselves the original copy of the game back in 2011. Oh yeah, because as far as I can gather is the fact that this game wasn't really that expensive, it was actually pretty cheap. But for we got it back in 2011, the condition itself is alright, except the fact that with the cover art has been turned up. But it wasn't until recently we got ourselves the spare copy again, except this time we actually got ourselves a full proper art. So as a result, no teared up or anything like that, which I'm very grateful for that, because without any artwork, then you probably don't know what the game you're playing. So you get the idea for that little topic here, so... Because yeah, this game is filled to the brim with a lot of coins, which believe me, you can get yourselves a whole bunch of extra lives super instantly, as you can tell. And of course, the first boss fight we actually come across into, it might be kind of reminds me of something related to Bowser from the likes of the original Super Mario Bros. Except the fact that this boss's name is actually King Totomasu, which appears to be more accurately some sort of like an Egyptian kind of, I don't know how you would call it. So anyway, the main objective in this game this time around though is the fact that we need to rescue not Peach, but Daisy this time. So yeah, and speaking of Princess Daisy, this was her first ever debut in the entirety of the Mario universe. Yeah, because that was before when she managed to join in some of these spin-off titles, specifically Mario Tennis for the Nintendo 64, and especially noticeable with Mario Party 3, that she will become a playable character on those spin-offs. So as a result, this was her first ever debut, for the sake of her appearance. So yeah, it seems pretty interesting all things considered. So yeah, you get the idea for that little solutions to think of. By the way, let's talk about the enemies that is actually introduced in this game, even though for some reason they'll never brought back those again. So the common enemies they actually gonna brings us into is the fact that these are, well, you know, with the forms of that similar Goomba type enemies that normally in Super Mario Bros. They call it Goombas, whilst in this game it's actually called Goomboo, which appears to be some sort of like act out pretty similar to any other Goombas, whilst in no any forms of even though it does have has their different names as well. I think Goomba was also originally known as Chibi-Bo, and also we come across into these very similar looking Koopa Troopas, and well, let's just say a combination of a Koopa Troopa and a Bob-Bomb at the same time, but the forms of usually calls it Bombshell Koopa, originally known as in the forms of different pronunciations or something. I know it's been such a long time since we've actually done a lot of researching stuff, but you know, with these Koopa-like enemies, these are known as Bombshell Koopa, but was also known as Nokuboon, which I know these names are very weird, believe me on that one. And plus, since we accidentally come across into our first death in the game, because the only problem with this game though is the fact that much like in the original Super Mario Bros. Is the fact that the momentum can sometimes feel a little bit too stiff in areas, mainly due to the fact that if you're running too fast, and sometimes they just carries Mario's momentum. So yeah, it's probably one of those old school retro stuff basically, Mario, but either way though, let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point, because either way though, today's day is of course the final day of July in 2020, in this case 31st of July. Not much else has been going on in the world at the moment, but even then there will let's definitely mention about the forms of some more stuff until when eventually he'll able to actually start to be doing his next redo Let's Play for the channel, which if you're following through our Let's Play of Mario Party 10 before, we're actually going to go back to the past, likely in 1998 all the way up to 2007 according to the majority of the Mario Party titles. So yeah, because we just want able to improve the quality and everything like that, so you know, you get the drill for this point. So but yeah, as I said before, that this game only features 4 worlds of the game, and sure enough, they actually contains 3 stages each. So, because of, as a result, the normal 2 levels does contains the normal platforming levels, like the usual, and then in the 3rd stage, that sometimes we ended up on the boss fight. So as a result, yeah, there's not much else to talk about. So. And also, yeah, let's just get back into the enemy names as far as this game is introduced. We still got ourselves Piranha Plants, but it's also originally known as Pakun Flower, which is a little bit odd name, but hey. And unfortunately, come across into another death because I'm pretty darn sure it's because of that little stiff momentum or anything. So, although I may be wrong, but either way though, nothing to be complained too much. But anyway. And also we got ourselves Bullet Biff, which is kind of a weird name for the actual Bullet Bills to begin with, but it usually calls it Bullet Biff in this game. So he's also originally named is Gua, although I do apologize for that pronunciation name very well. And also we got ourselves these falling slabs, which it only appears in as you saw from World 1-3. It only appeared during the film's last stage, and same applies to the other stage as well, which appears to be at the very end of the game. So we're not going to spoil things too much about it, but usually you have to only dodge them, so those things cannot be defeated at all. And speaking of such, you know, with that first world that we actually just managed to went into, their exclusive enemies has been appeared. Like, for instance, we got ourselves a fly, and also we got ourselves Bun Ben, and also Goyo, and finally the boss in that world, the first world in the game, which appears to be King, you know, Mitsu, which again I do apologize for that pronunciation of some of these bosses' names, because most of the time, the names are super weird, I'm telling you. So anyways, the second world, as you can tell, we're going to be exploring onto is the Muda Kingdom, which appears to be, I don't know how to pronounce that particular stuff, but we'll discuss more about it until likely for later on when it comes to able to, well, specifically whenever we continue proceeding for this game. So, and those enemies include on that world, which there are Hanin, which appears to be a bonefish kind of enemy, and also we come across into ourselves the Mikaban, and also some of those, well, we're probably not going to come across into any other enemies anytime soon until whenever we get onto the third stage, because for now, let's go ahead and concentrate on here, and sure enough, we made it to the bonus room. So either way though, we can able to actually just deal with all that. The only rewards you can get if you manage to get into the bonus games, which there are the Super Bowl flower if you manage to able to equip that, and as well as some extra lives, which again is super generous when it comes to extra lives in this game. So, oh yeah, there are a few rare occasions. Is the fact that in the forms of in every single time in Journey forms of in World 2 as well as World 4 potentially, that sometimes we're able to come across into some sort of like a vehicle auto-scrolling level, which as you can see, Mario is actually on a submarine. And basically, we have to just keep on shooting those little bullets or projectiles right at these enemies. So as you can tell, that we actually come across into those underwater creatures that we might able to come across into. Such as, for instance, we got ourselves Yarmamabu, which I do apologize for that pronunciation of these names very well, as well as Tarian, and also Nyomoren, and also Gunrian, and Tamu, which, again, do apologize for that particular pronunciation errors, but I'm sure because of how the fact that I not exactly know about any single parts that resides, but either way though, that's all I can really think about it, so yeah, you probably get the idea. So yeah, let's talk about these kingdoms that it's actually based off from. It's the fact that it, according to the plot of the game, it's the fact that Mario's managed to travel through the forms of the new island called, Sarisaland, which I do apologize for that particular name of those locations very well, but I digress. Oh yeah, here we go with this next boss fight right here, which appears to be Dragon Zamuza, which, you know, if you manage to get the pattern down, even though the only thing is makes it a little bit tricky for this boss fight is the fact that the projectiles that you have to avoid, assuming if you're able to become smaller version of Mario himself, you're expecting you're gonna get hit or even die a lot for the sake of that segment. But if you manage to fire enough bullets at him, then World 2 is completed. And every time if you come across into this part right here, that's much like in forms of in Super Mario Bros. Is the fact that sometimes that you come across into the message saying, "Thank you, Mario." Oh, Daisy. But then, unlike the ones that how it does it in the Super Mario Bros. Game, is the fact that normally Bowser's, you know, just managed to get themselves the actual clones. And this time around, though, in this game, that's, well, I don't know how to pronounce that very well, but I digress. So now let's move on to World 3, which appears to be by the forms of Easton Kingdom, which from the looks of this particular stuff though is the fact that everything else is entirely related to I don't know about you, but anyway. The actual kingdoms themselves, though, is the fact that World 1 is actually based off from Egypt. And also in World 2, which I think it was actually based off from, I don't know. It has been, you know, very long time since we actually played this, though, as I said earlier, but either way, though, I just want to point it out right away. So, it might be something related to Water World in the Muda Kingdom, as far as I'm aware. Whilst the forms of the Easton Kingdom, it was actually based off from the actual Easter Island. Because, you know, because of that familiar, well, I don't know how to explain this, but either way, though, we'll just take a death right there, unfortunately. But luckily for us, though, Mario, is the fact that every time we die, then we can able to actually re-grab the exact same amount of coins again, assuming if we're able to actually find enough secrets as we can. But either way, though, we're just gonna have to leave it to that. But I digress. So either way, though, again, not much else to say apart from the fact that, well, recently we got to the final day of July, because let me tell you, July is alright. Well, the only good part about this year, though, is the fact that we got ourselves a first ever Mario game for the Nintendo Switch in 2020 at long last. So now we're really hoping for is the fact that let's just hope if they're going to be announcing the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario series, which again, it's been rumored for a very, very long while, but I'm really hoping that was the case, because, you know, you're about to celebrate yourself. Yeah, especially after the events of, let's just say in 2005, for the Famicom skin of the Game Boy Micro, and also 2010, I managed to celebrate with my, the Super Mario All-Stars port to the Nintendo Wii. And in 2015, we've got Super Mario Maker, the original Super Mario Maker, as in the 30th anniversary. But let's just hope that the forms of 35th anniversary, such as this year, then we could expect to see something surprising. So, but then again, though, Sonic, we'll find out and see what happens there. Especially noticeable how the majority of this year has gone pretty terrible. Well, at least at the beginning, it's not so bad, but it's just that when it gets to March and onwards, it just gets really rough. Like, seriously, what's the point of able to actually bring in, you know, the COVID-19 in the first place? I just have no flipping idea. Which actually causes the forms of the actual possible delays in between Nintendo developers out there. Especially noticeable how the fact that, well, good thing about the forms of, well, speaking of which, actually, is the fact that one thing I totally forgot to mention, ever since enjoying forms have been the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 Let's Play, is the fact that, well, I'm pretty sure that the PlayStation 5 is actually getting another event, but this time around, though, it's going to take place in August the 6th, which I think it was actually in Thursday, if I recall that. I'm pretty sure it was on Thursday. I think you're right for this point, Mario, so either way. Yeah, and also recently, it's the fact that we actually got ourselves the Microsoft showcase as well, by the forms of Xbox showcase. Although, we'll let that be. Oh, really? We were so close, because I can see the ending right there. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I blame on the emulator controls, thank you, because as a result, I'm pretty much used to playing this on the Game Boy Player, as well as the Game Boy Advance SP because of backwards compatibility and stuff like that. But oh well, we'll have to take a death on the ending portion of the level, I'm afraid. But hey, on the upside though is the fact that I'm pretty sure we're in the halfway point of the game already. Oh yeah, I'm guessing you're right, Sonic, because, well, as we said this before, is the fact that this game only contains 4 worlds, so definitely a little bit of a shorter game compared to Super Mario Bros., that's for sure. Yeah, no, because of the handheld limitations or anything like that, so. But I digress. So either way though, let's go ahead and move on to World 3-2. Now you notice with these familiar enemies that we've already come across into in World 3-1, we actually come across into ourselves Batadon, and also Tuka, and also same applies to these little weird spider enemies, which there are Su, and also Canoe, and also some falling spike that you always have to avoid. And also there's going to be some of these annoying hazards that you have to come across into, like for instance there is a Gunchin, which appears to be likely the boulder, that you can't instantly kill them. Instead, they act out as like a hazard or something. So, but either way though, definitely a little bit ambitious for the most of the time. And looks like we keep on getting drained all of our lives very, very fast during the forms of this level. I think this is what the game starts to get a little bit difficult, mainly due to a multitude of things. Is that, you know, very similar to Super Mario Bros. There's going to be a lot of unpredictable enemy pattern or anything like that, and it's also the actual momentum as well. Yeah, that's as far as I was thinking of the same thing for you for this point, Mario, but hey. Nothing to be wrong about this though, don't get me wrong, but either way though, it's just a little bit of a coincidence whenever they managed to come up with this particular limitations or anything like that, so... And I suppose there's another thing we should probably explain about this too, is the fact that, I suppose that Blossom has not even mentioned about this ever since Journey Forms have been, well, specifically the Nintendo Switch game collection video, is that recently, that we did manage to able to actually just to took out all of our plugs and cables, and even our game systems recently, Journey Forms have been the past few days, because we're actually going to be moving on to the new room. Which, meaning about the fact that we're actually getting ourselves double the amount of size as compared to the forms of how it does it on the current room we're actually in right now. So, really excited, especially noticeable, I can't wait to show you guys to see what there are some differences between the previous room than the likes of how it does it in this particular room. That's, well, a brand new room I should say. So either way though, of course we still got enough time left until we're able to get this sorted, because eventually we might be able to get ourselves our cabinet. Ah, shoot. I timed my job so badly right there, so either way though, we'll gonna have to leave it to that. So, anyway. Of course this game did also came out on the Nintendo 3DS as in the forms of the eShop Virtual Console version, so if you want to able to play that on the 3DS, well, more power to you, because either way though, you can able to play it on the go, plus because of how the fact that you can able to utilize the save feature, so as a result, because of that though, that's, well, you know. So anyways, let's go ahead and take down these little, you know, bombshell Koopas, as you can see right here, and also some of these weird looking spiders, which, from what I can gather, these are, well, for these regular spiders, as you noticed for this point, Mario, these are named, Camo, which, yeah, it still has a weird name. In fact, most of these enemies in this game are super weird, which, until whenever we get onto Super Mario Land 2, which, I think we might able to do that game during at some point in next year, just because of how the fact that, at this point in time, that we need to focusing on any other Let's Plays, including that you, Sonic, are about to be able to go back into, well, let's just say, I think Duffy is going to go back into Team Sonic Racing, kind of thing about it, and as well as Piglet also needs to get back into Yoshi's Crafted World, and eventually, for me, I'm about to be going back into SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, as in the original game, not the remake, mind you, because we're not exactly ready for the remake Let's Play yet, but hopefully by that time until next year or something like that for a specific time, then we'll able to actually delta to able to do that. Although, unfortunately, for the sake of time, Sonic, is that I'm pretty sure we might as well do the worst version of the game, which is on the Switch version, just because of graphical glitches or something, so... Anyways, the next boss, as you can see right here, which appears to be Hayo-i-Hoi, which, seriously, those names are weird, man. But I digress. So either way though, we'll go ahead and rescue Princess Daisy. Oh wait, it will be a fake again, isn't it? Yep, but this time around though, it's actually turned into Como. So but either way though, we'll have to be able to accept that. In fact, this is the final time we're going to be seeing those particular sequence, because eventually, let's get ourselves... Oh, goody, we got some more extra lives back. So in this case, we now got 10 extra lives, and I think we are now moving on to the fourth and final world in the game, which appears to be by the forms of Chai Kingdom, which, as far as I can usually think about this, is actually inspired by China, so as a result, that we actually getting close towards the end of it. Although the only annoying enemies that we might able to consider come across into, which there are Pompon Flowers, and also same applies for those little ninja kind of enemies, which there are Poinopi, which I have no idea how do I specifically pronounce those specific names, but either way though still, as well as these little, oh, I don't know about you, but either way though, it has been a very long while since we did manage to commentate on certain things. By the way, with those little ninja kind of enemies, as you can see right there, basically these cannot be killed instantly because they are able to actually go back up if you master away for a few seconds, as far as I can usually think about this for the sake of time. And that's where the difficulty starts to get a little bit ramped up. And I think back in the day, whenever we first got Super Mario Land, I think this is the only level we've actually got into and managed to get our game over on that particular level. But the more we've grown older, Sonic, is the fact that since we got a lot of practice on this game, especially notable ever since in 2011, then we're pretty much guaranteed able to do this like a little bit of a no sweat. So, well, despite with the forms of stiff momentum right here. Even especially noticeable how the fact that sometimes that, you know, moving platforms can throw me off a little bit. But anyways, let's get ourselves a Super Mushroom quickly, so that way we can able to gain ourselves a little bit of a defense kind of syndrome. And grab some more coins here in the process, so just in case we can able to eventually try to make our way to this point again, except, well, oh jeez. Sometimes though, it's the fact that you have to be super precise with all these jumps and what have you, especially how to rely on the momentum, as I mentioned this earlier. Yeah, these guys do not able to actually kill instantly if you manage to stomp on them, because otherwise, that's basically they'll just go back up. So yeah, something's worth mentioning for the sake of clarity, but either way though, looks like we've only got about... Oh jeez, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this. Oh god, it's an ambush! We got swarmed by those little ninja kind of enemies. Oh, Jesus Louise. I hate this bed. I seriously hate this bed, but regardless... Oh! That is so unpredictable right there at the end. Oh, great. We have to go all the way back. Although the good thing for this point, Mario, is the fact that the checkpoints are usually quite generous with us this time, because as opposed to the ones in you, let's just say in Super Mario Bros. 3, that basically Super Mario Bros. 3 does not have any checkpoints whatsoever. Whilst the forms of Super Mario Bros. And the Lost Levels does manage to contain checkpoints, and also Super Mario Bros. 2, aka Super Mario USA, for those who lived in Japan, that those games does manage to contain checkpoints, assuming if you're able to go to the next room. So, that's what I was thinking of anyway, so... Alright, so we're almost there, so we've only got 2 more levels to go, so hopefully, exponentially, we should be able to finish this game during time. Although there's also another reason why originally that we were supposed to be able to do this Let's Play and during at some point until Christmas Eve this year, but we can't help it for ourselves just to able to actually do this Let's Play straight away, so as a result, and also another thing too, is the fact that originally this was supposed to be during the forms of, you know, the Let's Play we're going to be doing for the 10-year anniversary of our YouTube channel, but unfortunately though, that doesn't seem to make it happen, so as a result, we'll just have to deal with it, and also we'll just have some fun time just trying to able to experience this, so... And especially noticeable, the quality itself looks much nicer than, well, we were originally going to do this on the 3DS, but of course the quality when you're trying to record 3DS games wasn't a great idea. Although despite the fact though, Sonic, is the fact that some Toys Else did already done their Let's Plays of Kirby's Dream Land 1 and Kirby's Dream Land 2, both on the Game Boy on the 3DS. Oh right, exactly. But regardless of such though, Sonic, is the fact that we just have to able to stick around with it, so... yeah, I suppose you're right. Especially noticeable with the actual resolution is a little bit perfect for nostalgia reasons, so anywho. So anyways though, this is the last platforming level if you couldn't tell, because eventually until the true final level in the game, I believe that we might able to come across into that, I would say the final vehicle level, so as far as I can gather for this correctly, then we can able to actually just go with it. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump onto this platform, and there we go. Hold right, and jump at the right moment. And this is the final level to able to feature the forms of the actual goal system, as you can see right here, because as a result, we managed to make it to the bonus room. And God knows of what reward we might able to get to the end. Nah, just an extra one up. Only one of them. But at least on the upside though, Sonic, we made it back to 10 lives, so I guess that makes it obvious. So anyways, much like in World 2-3, that once again we're going to be doing with an auto-scrolling shooting level, except now, we're actually going to be entering the aeroplane. So yeah, it's pretty cool, especially noticeable how the fact that, well, they did manage to, I would say, bring in that particular, well, I don't know about you, but either way though, we'll just have to leave it to that. So anyways, basically we need to take down all sorts of enemies once again, except now with the different variations of these enemies that we might able to only come across for the sake of this level, which there are the chicken, and also, Rokaton, and also those little, Chikaku, which, I apologize for that particular name error, but either way though, we're gonna have to leave it to that. To me though, one of the more annoying enemies in this particular level is the fact that those chickens that, you know, as you can saw, that they did manage to fly up, they're ridiculously unpredictable at times, probably because of how the fact that sometimes, if I was going to be able to actually just dodge them, but most of the time, you never know what the actual predictions of their patterns most of the time. But regardless of those, Sonic is, oh, seriously, we always get hit by those chickens! Jeez, no wonder why we're gonna get hit by so many chickens these days. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get our Starman at long last, so that way we can able to actually breezily win through this. So, and of course we need to avoid a lot of those sparks, as you can see right here, because again, if you dare touch them, then you're seriously gonna get hit. Alright, so I think we're on the halfway point of this level, I think, although I may be wrong, but then again though, it's just a matter of like, whoever is gonna able to make it for this point, so... Oh boy, a whole bunch of coins. No wonder why this game is generous with extra lives, and as well as, you know, coins, essentially, too. But at least we got an extra life back after getting, you know, mutated by those little chickens, which, yeah, it seems very much confidence by this point. And also, we need to not get crushed in this section right here, because again, if we get crushed, then it'll be instant death. Especially notable with these spikes over there. And as well as the nose side of things though, Mario, is the fact that we actually come across into the last enemy, which appears to be body forms of, I would say, Kenkutasho, which, these appears to be body forms of the slightly faster piranha plants, but instead of like piranha plants, they're just like fists, so even then though, unfortunately those things cannot be destroyed at all. So here we go folks, and despite the fact that we actually did die by, once again, those chickens, but anyway, we're just gonna have to leave it to that, so... But on the upside though, is the fact that we got a mushroom at least, so... Yeah, those things cannot be destroyed at all, so... Anyways, let's hit on to the forms of the true final boss in this game, or should I say, final boss phase number 1, as because of how the fact that we're going to be taking on this weird cloud, which apparently got its name by the way, which appears to be Boyokinton, which basically all we have to do is just basically we need to keep on hitting him with the missiles or what have you, and as soon as you deal enough damage, if you think the actual final boss itself is done, well, turns out it's not over yet, because we got ourselves the true final boss of the game. And here is where we're able to introduce into ourselves Tantanga, which appears to be some sort of like a weird space alien creature or something like that. And basically, just like in the forms of the previous boss fight that we've already done, we need to keep on shooting at him a few times, and if you do enough hits on him, then the game is over. Yep, especially noticeable how the fact that it's weird that this was actually a forgotten character. Well, it wasn't until whenever we get onto Super Mario Land 2 that we were able to actually come across into that familiar boss again and join at some point. But then again, we'll save that until likely for next year. So, as you can see, the quest is over, so this means Mario must able to take Princess Daisy. I would say go back into the Mushroom Kingdom and join the phrase. At least back in the forms of in the late 1980s or something, so yeah, that's how the ending goes. Basically, they'll just use the actual rocket, or the rocket plane, so that way they'll traverse back to the Mushroom Kingdom itself or something, so yeah, it's a pretty swell ending, and especially noticeable how the fact that, let's talk about the final thoughts of this game before we end this Let's Play off. It's a very simple platforming game. Sure, it's pretty short, and the visuals do look very good even to this day. And especially noticeable how the fact that, well, the music itself, is actually quite memorable, honestly. And also, the controls-wise, does take a while to get used to, especially noticeable because this is very similar to Super Mario Bros., except this is on the Game Boy. And also because we got ourselves 4 worlds instead of 8 worlds compared to the original Super Mario Bros., but that's fine because either way, we still enjoyed it even to this day. Even though, as far as I've heard, is that the sequel to this game will be a lot more better. This is probably because the menacing villain that we actually come across and introduce into ourselves into. So with that being said, folks, I think we should probably end things off here. So this is me, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Mario here from the Maxi Toys. And until then, as we said before, we'll promise you guys we'll do the Super Mario Land 2 Let's Play and doing at some point next year. Just because there are some other Let's Plays to catch up on, including Duffy's about to be getting prepared for the next series of Let's Play marathons that we might able to consider doing in the future. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. So we'll see you guys enjoying at some point soon. Enjoy it next month. So we'll see you guys then. Bye.